Are we keeping you up, Bill?
It tells you.
Sorry, man.
Jeez, we all yawn. We try to do it off mic.
Oh, did I yawn
I sit here all day yawning.
We started off with that boring story about the limo.
We try to
that regular guys like myself couldn't relate to.
Regular guy.
We try to keep the illusion that
you know, I come in here with my lunch pail. You know, I punched the little time card, to get that XM check that's coming any day now.
I punched the thing I've seen in movies that I've never seen in real life.
Fuck you, I worked in a warehouse. I know exactly what it looks like.
You worked in a warehouse. Where? House.
When I went up in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts? What was in this warehouse?
Software.
Housing.
It was software.
Software? What did you do? Drive the forklift?
I unloaded the trucks, and we didn't have back in my day we didn't have forklifts. We had something known as a pallet jack.
The pallet jack.
The pallet jack.
I hated the pallet jack.
Your truck would back up, and it would always be like an uphill thing, and you'd be pulling out your lower back.
It's like it's one step above just pulling the pallets out with your bare hands.
Oh, yeah.
You'd slide this thing. It kind of, they want you to think it's like a forklift. It's got 2 forks on it and wheels and a handle. And you have to run like as fast as you can just to get the forks into the pallet because the wheels get caught on the wood. And it's got to be set at the exact proper height.
It's like no power. It's like going from power steering to no power steering.
Yeah, no power steering. And you run full blast, bam, you hit it. And then you got to jack the thing up with some kind of little pump handle. And once it's off the ground, now it still weighs. There's no little pulley system or any type of... It still weighs exactly what it weighed before you picked it up with this thing. But now it kind of has some wheels to it. And you got to pull it out of this truck. Any incline?
Yeah.
You ain't getting that.
No.
It's not working. What a thankless job.
It's a fucking great job.
Oh, it stunk. Shut up.
I loved it.
You hated it.
No, it was great. It was all the wise asses who fucked off in high school.
Fun to hang out with those people and stuff, but the work itself?
No career goals, so there was like no competition. Just getting drunk every night. Yeah.
No one had like any of those jobs I had. No one had anywhere else they wanted to be. No, there was the old guy. There was always the old guy on the job that you assumed had a dream sometime, but he's like 55, pushing 60, and he's like still doing this shit.
Oh yeah.
And he's happy, you know. He jokes around with the guys.
I worked with the old guy. He was a Vietnam vet. And he used to be one of those guys who would, like, literally during the course of the day drink a case of beer and would completely be fine.
Had the same guy used to drive the fucking truck with the sheet metal in it and drink Schlitz tall boys that he would, like, sneak into the truck. And the whole way, I'm talking like maybe a 30, 40-mile drive with the sheet metal in the back, and he's just drinking Schlitz.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd never notice.
I went out drinking him with him, like, one time, and it was like one of those deals. The only time you're on the same beer is the first beer. And then the rest of the time you had like literally have like a line of beers and you're like just trying to suck this shit down. And this dude is just like, you guys ready for another one? This guy worked in in Vietnam. He was like in the DMZ, you know? Yeah. And he had one of those anti-aircraft guns that he had pointed like horizontally and would just shoot into the fucking tree line. We get him real hammered and get him to try to talk about those things.
Some Vietnam stories.
Hey Frank, how many people do you think he killed? I don't like talking about that shit. And we just fucking.
It had to be 80 gooks.
Yeah.
A few beers later. 80 gooks. We called it air.
Yeah.
Air support. Naped them. All of them. But none of these guys ever had, like, anywhere else they wanted to be.
Oh, yeah.
They were happy to be there. They were looking toward, like, hey, you think we're getting the raise? You know, they're negotiating the raises for the guys, and it's supposed to be, like, 3% the first year, and then 4% the second year. And I'm looking at what my pay is and thinking what 3% of that is, and it's like, we're fighting for scraps.
For dollars. Oh, it's great. You wouldn't miss any sporting event?
No.
You either went to it or you watched it?
Yeah.
You didn't have work to do in the next morning. You unload trucks. I got it. I was mentally prepared for this job in 3rd grade. I can do it.
Out till all hours getting smashed. And just show up hungover.
You know what's funny? I had absolutely no expenses. I was making, I think, like $260 a week. Right? I had absolutely, by Tuesday every week, I was just totally fucking broken. Had absolutely nothing to show for it.
Never went to the bank. There was no bank in my life. I took the money that I had. I had to go to the company's bank to cash my check. Because I didn't have a bank to go to where it's like, you learn that by going to some bank with your check and go, I'd like to cash this. Do you have an account here? No. Well, you can't cash it here. Well, how am I? And then you get an attitude. How am I supposed to fucking cash it? Or make it count. I need the money now.
You can't use that language. We're gonna.
I need the money now. It's good.
Bullshit.
Call the number on the check. It's good. And you're just like a dirtbag. And I'd have to go to the company that I worked for, their bank, to cash the check. And it would just end up this wad of cash in my pocket, and that's where it would stay. And I'd go to the bar, and boom, you're buying shots, you buy your cigarettes, you buy whatever you need. And by, Tuesday,
just
Wednesday,
wait for the canteen
broke.
truck to show up.
Yeah.
You'd eat that shit food. You still somehow had a flat stomach because you're so fucking young.
You're working out every day.
You play basketball during the break in your fucking tight 80s jeans. Come back and drip and sweat.
Did you have credit with the coffee truck guy?
I didn't. Other guys did.
I had credit with him, and it was like there was some weeks I'd have to hide and not eat because the coffee truck guy would pull up, and I'd be, well into him for quite a few bucks, but I had blown my money. So now I can't get anything to eat because I have no money. I can't get credit from the truck because I'm exhausted with my credit there, and I'm hiding behind equipment, peeking out, waiting for him to leave as he's like with his change thing on his belt, not making eye contact with anybody he's doing business with, just looking around for me. His head is spinning, he's kind of looking. And he's off, and then I'd see him. I was out on a job, and I'd pay him finally. And then I'd
where's
be broke.
your friend Anthony? He's cutting up boxes.
Yeah, he's around. I don't know. I saw him earlier. Tell him I want to see him. And then I get paid and have to pay the coffee truck guy, and then I'd be broke like on payday. That was the worst, where you had some big debt, and then payday, and it's gone, and now it's Friday afternoon, and you're broke.
You know what's funny, too? You could actually, I had like 2 or 3 times there was like physical fights amongst different employees, but because it's a warehouse, no one gets fired. You just go back to work, and guys like all sweaty with their hair sticking up, this fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's not like a real place of business.
Oh yeah, there was this one guy,
prison yard.
This one guy worked who was just a raging alcoholic, and he came in one time. I swear to God, it was like 11:30 in the morning. You're supposed to be there by 8. And he comes in, his hair is soaking wet from a shower, and he tries to pull, oh, yeah, the traffic was brutal. Well, there's like one highway. We all came up there. It's like, dude, you went out boozing. And he's like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's doing one of those, right? So we were making a run to Dunkin' Donuts, and they call, hey, Paul, you want anything? He's like, nah, I'm all set. And Buddy goes, how about a rum cake? And that was it. Fucking on the mat. Just going at it. Hey, knock it off. Fucking change all over the floor. And then you just went back to work.
Yeah. We would have to check in every morning, and I'd get in my truck, and I was habitually late, like every fucking day. I could not get there on time, late every day. And you'd have to check in the second you got in your truck and you were driving in. So I'd be still putting my shirt on and just grabbing at the mic. 16 to base. Yeah. Base to 16, go ahead. Yeah, I'm right around the corner, but I'm going to have to stop and get some gas. Truck needs gas. All right, we'll see you when you get here. Meanwhile, I have, no gas. But now I can't get gas. I have to drive there, hope no one looks and notices I don't have any gas because I didn't stop for gas. And then I have to start this whole story with the fucking guy with the gas. He insists, he pops the hood, looks for the old fucking oil. I needed oil. I'm like, dude, I got to get to work. He's there with the tire pressure gauge.
Meanwhile, you got booze on your breath.
And it was every morning. Every morning. I thought they were retarded. Every morning there's a problem. The traffic, I would use the traffic. Or I would call in, I'd be like, yeah, how you doing? No, I've been up for hours. Fine. I got gravelly, hungover, drunk guy voice. Obviously,
at any given moment, somebody had lost their license for drinking and driving, and of course you would still drive. So you'd park your car behind the dumpster. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. I remember I had this one job in this warehouse. First day I get there, I thought the last one was crazy. This one was everyone there, the first one was just alcoholics. I went to the next one. Everyone was cokeheads. And I walked in there. What the fuck was this guy's name? He was one of these guys 6'7" and weighed 111 pounds. And he had the electronic pallet jack.
Yeah.
And he kept driving right to the edge, going, I'm gonna drive it off the dock. And everyone was just kind of nervously laughing. And I'm sitting there, what the fuck is with that guy?
We used to use some pretty hardcore machinery in the sheet metal shop. Big cutters where you would take in sheets that were 10 feet
Oh, you worked in like the Bruce Springsteen fucking warehouse.
Dude, it was, you're making the shit.
I'm gonna cut up some steel.
Well, I'm cutting up some steel. I'm hoping, Wendy, I get a big record deal.
It was one of those awful fucking Allentown Bell. Just horrid places to work. And you're putting these big sheets of steel, these what amounts to giant razor blades, into machines and cutting them up into smaller pieces to be bent up into ductwork, to be loaded onto a truck, to be driven to a job, to be installed. That's what the job was all about. And the machines we were working around, there was something called a brake. You ever see ducts? They're square.
Right.
How do you think you get that 90-degree bend in the sheet metal so nice and tight? It's something called a brake.
I've often wondered that.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. You take a piece of flat sheet metal, put it in a brake, and it's a big wedge on this big V-shaped thing, and it hits the metal and boof, bends it into a 90-degree angle. And you do that a few times, and you have a square. And we're running these machines drunk off our asses. Just drunk and stoned. Everyone in the shop. There wasn't one person that 12 o'clock rolled around, we didn't go to the bar and OTB that was right next door and just slam shots, bet a few horses, and go back and run this machinery.
You just did everything that's going to keep you in that job.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly.
Nobody's buying a self-help book. How to get your money to work for you. Nobody's doing that.
It. You're betting horses with money you don't have, buying booze, and going back and working with some of the most dangerous machinery. There were things called clinch collars. They're these round things that you'd have to put in the duct to then extend pipes off of that would go to the vents in the houses. And they were stapled together. Now, you got to staple through sheet metal. So there are these giant Bosch staplers that are foot activated. And your fingers are like millimeters away from the actual mechanism. And you're just stapling. And every so often, bam, someone's stomach got caught in there, finger, and you laugh at them. You just laugh. You fucking stapled your finger, asshole. It's a whole nother world, whole nother mentality.
Hey, we got to go to the phones. They've exploded. A lot of people are relating today. Carl in New Jersey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Anthony, you're such a fancy man now that if you met yourself then, you'd be scared of yourself. You'd be scared of you.
I would be petrified of myself. I would chase me away.
Corporate fucking
Get away.
It's amazing how much Anthony has changed in the last 11 years.
Get away from me, you bum.
Someone just drinking Perrier sparkling water.
I see that, with a fancy shirt.
Like he just stepped off a fucking yacht.
I was at the hotel.
Boys, I'm out.
All right. He's got a fancy shirt on and everything.
I am horrible.
They got to Photoshop the old Anthony with the new Anthony.
I have abandoned anything of the old me. I've just abandoned it.
He is a chef.
It was, let me tell you about the hatred I had for that job. Like, I had a good time. Like, I understand what you're saying completely. There were some people, some of the funniest motherfuckers I ever met, were on job sites. They were hysterical. Fucking laughed my balls off. The job was thankless. The work was just... You'd be on a rooftop, and it's 100 degrees out. The black tar roof is 120 degrees, and you're with a Sawzall, some guy telling you, cut a 10-foot by 10-foot hole in this roof, because we're landing a unit on there this afternoon. And you're sitting there cutting through tar and gravel and sheet metal and precariously perched ladders that could kill you at any minute. It's just no safety, no nothing, and you're constantly, like, sweating and working hard, and it just sucked. And then winter rolls around, and now all the sheet metal's covered in ice, and you still got to put it in. It was horrible.
I knew this was coming.
I don't look back fondly at the work itself.
Chris in D.C.
Yeah, I just wanted to note here that it's quite obvious, as if we all didn't know, that, Opie, you haven't worked one honest fucking day in your entire life. This 20-minute rant that Bill and Anthony are going on here, and you're just sitting back quietly going, like, I got a fucking thing to say.
You know, there are times when there's some nice conversation going on. I want to be part of the I want to be part of it, and I'll try to get in and say something or maybe direct the conversation. I have no fucking clue.
Why don't you tell people how you caddied at the Crescent Club?
I caddied at the Huntington Crescent Club.
That was Opie's regular job.
I caddied from when I was 12 years old to 26, maybe.
Sit down, Opie.
I was a caddy for 14 straight years. I worked in a video store where I watched pornos with my friends, and I got fired from that because I refused to turn the pornos off when other people were coming in to rent regular movies with their kids. And I was a temp to hire for a
temp?
Yeah, temp to hire for Xerox up in Rochester.
Yeesh.
Those were the only jobs I had, and then I went into radio.
Jeez.
That's it.
No warehouse or sheet metal. No Bruce Springsteen jobs for you.
No, I was the guy. I was in shipping for Xerox.
Yeah, but not shipping where you're loading trucks.
No, I had to
You were the guy, the paperwork guy.
I was the paperwork guy.
You had like a uniform.
No.
Fill something out, hand it to one of the men, and he will go and load this truck with the equipment.
What was it called? A
dispatcher?
Oh, something. I don't know. But you're right, Chris. You're right. What can I tell you? I wandered around America trying to get into radio while these guys were working their asses off.
Good stuff. Hey, have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I never had a real job. Let's say hi to Joker in California. Joker.
Morning, boys.
Hey, Joker.
Hey, Anthony, we used to work out there in sheet metal in California. I used to get up every morning, get high before we go to work.
Yep.
And had a little accident, cut my ear off.
Your ear?
My left ear.
How did you cut your fucking ear off? Maybe lifting a piece of metal?
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine was supposed to be carrying the other end.
Oh,
flipped around and dropped it, which made my hand go up and slice my ear off.
Oh, wow.
That rocks.
That is rough. The worst day working there was when the sheet metal truck would come for deliveries, and they'd drop off a new load of sheet metal, and it had to be taken off one sheet at a time. So you got me and my brother, or me and some other guy, poor slob that's working there. Some other alcoholic. You put on your gloves, these big heavy gloves, and take one sheet off at a time and hope that every time you're not going to just cut your limb off. You drop a piece of that metal, and it hits your leg or your shin or something like that. It's your leg will be sliced through like a razor blade, and that's what you're working with on a daily basis. Razor blade. And any other kind of cuts you'd get every day. You'd cut yourself some way, shape, or form. You just hope it wouldn't be that serious that day. I was making these L brackets to hang something off of once, and I hold on to one end of it, and I'm drilling the other side, not realizing that when the drill screw catches, it's just going to turn this thing into a handheld saw, because it's a little bracket that I made out of sheet metal. And I'm holding one end, and I'm drilling the other, and it caught and spun in my hand, and just, still got it right there, wham, ripped through the palm of my hand. And you know what you do? You put some duct tape on it and finish what you're doing. And then maybe go to the hospital and have them stitch it up.
See, I can't imagine that this is the same guy that would be doing all this.
Yeah.
That was it.
This is the funny thing. Is people are standing around asking if he's okay, people are actually holding back laughter.
Laughing. Yeah. You would laugh at the guys and they'd hurt themselves.
Dude, you okay?
There were guys with the fucking nail guns. Every day on the job, some idiot would slam one of those fucking nails through a finger or his hand or something, and it's just, hey, Jesus, a nice fucking work. He's got a nail through the palm of his hand. Come here, we'll get the pliers, and pull it out.
No sympathy whatsoever.
None.
Let's go to John in Jersey. John.
What's up, boys? Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy birthday, Billy. I used to work as an electrician before I became a paramedic, so I actually had to work for a living. And on Fridays, we'd go to the bar, which is right next door to the electrical shop, and just get loaded up from like 4:30 till 7:30. 7:30 till about 9:30 was Fight Club. It started out just, each of us getting into a fight with each other over something stupid during the week. And then it became a game. The boss actually would referee the fights in the yard next door. We'd go back to the yard and beat the shit out of each other. I mean, hit each other with like bales of wire and stuff. And it was the best job I ever had, only for the fact that we did Fight Club.
They did Fight Club on the job.
Healthy work atmosphere.
I had this guy who was 6'6". I was giving him shit, and I swear to God, he was like further away than you are, and I turned my back, and he like hit me with a jab. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe he caught me. I thought it was like safe away.
Far enough away.
Oh, dude, he tagged me. Saw like the white lights for half a second.
I so respect what you guys did, because there's no human resources and all that bullshit. If you had a problem with a fellow employee,
you duked it out.
You duked it out. You made his life a living hell for a day or two.
It was how hockey used to be.
You couldn't run to human resources.
No.
We have to deal with that in radio all the time. We say the wrong thing to someone, and they go running off to human resources. The next thing you know, you're in meetings and all that bullshit.
No.
Not these guys that I do the radio show with.
You could keep your job just based on certain little talents that you had. You didn't even have to really be good at it. Like I know I had a job because my license was clean. There were guys that couldn't drive. They were great workers, but they couldn't drive to the jobs. So, like, all right, go with Anthony. We'll, send you out to this job here today. I was one of the guys with a clean license, and I could make anything out of 8-inch round pipe if I needed to. I could just bend it flat and cut it with the snips. And, like, you ever see those IQ tests where it's like, what would this folded up look like? They have like a box
that
and stuff. That was what my job was. I'd go to, like, Manhattan. I'd come in here, and they'd send me into a brownstone where it was some custom job. They didn't know what it was. They'd send me in with metal and just go, we don't know what this lady needs, just make something. And you'd have to look and measure and draw it out on a piece of sheet metal and then cut it, bend it up, screw it together, and install it.
Yeah.
And that was like my talent. I could do that.
You actually had a skill job. Mine wasn't.
That was it.
No, it was cool.
Unloading boxes and putting the right shit in.
That was years after the shop and the warehouse.
No, what was cool about Anthony when him and I started working together, and then we got to move, back to New York to do radio. We got to do a lot of cool things on commercial radio, and we would be driving around this fine city of Manhattan, and Anthony would be pointing out all the buildings he worked in.
Oh yeah,
you see that air conditioner on the top of that huge building?
I put that there.
I helped install that.
It's the size of a freight train car.
And we would be on the way to maybe a photo shoot or some crazy thing, and he would just point out, stuff he did in his other life. It's another life.
Every strip mall on Long Island. Every one of those Rexon office buildings in Huntington and Melville, all those. Yeah. Crawled around in every ceiling, every space between the hung ceiling and the metal floor above it. I was in there crawling like an animal.
I did construction for like a week and a half. Is how long I lasted. First of all, I sucked at it, and it was just, it was brutal.
It is rough.
Plus, it was some dude, I swear to God, like every day. He'd be wearing. He had these jeans, and he had this. I don't know. I told this story before. He had this big hole in his pants, just to I think the right of his package. And every day I'm fucking standing there cutting something, and he comes walking by and steps over something, and the hole goes right over his whole. His whole fucking unit was hanging out.
That's like great. That's what you want.
Really. Kevin in Connecticut. What's up, Kevin?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Anthony, how long has it been since you shit in a bucket?
Since I shit in a spackle bucket. Wow, that's probably 11 years.
Does it turn your stomach now?
Since I've shit in a spackle bucket. There are times when I got to take a dump where I wish I had a spackle bucket around. Yeah, that's what you had to do. You go down into the basement. We'd be on these track jobs where they're building 800 of the same house. So... it'd get pretty boring. You'd get it down to the point where you could finish a whole house in a couple of hours installing the ductwork in there. And you'd be on the job. You got to take a dump, and there's no fucking portable toilet. It's such a mess. You just grab a spackle bucket, go down into the basement of one of these places, find a corner to lean in,
and everybody upstairs is yelling down at you.
Shit in the spackle bucket, and that's why you never opened a closed spackle bucket. If you needed a spackle bucket, you could carry your tools in or grab some water for some concrete mix or whatever the hell you need it for. You would never grab one that's capped because if you open it up, what you're going to see in there. But at least we did that. The animal Portuguese cement workers would just shit in bathtubs. Like the people install a bathtub, and you'd walk into the bathroom, and there's just shit in the bathtub. Or if the toilet was installed, but the water hasn't been hooked up yet, there's just dried shit in the bottom of the toilet. People just shit and piss everywhere. If you buy a new house, it has been shit and pissed in every corner of the house.
Yeah, that ground floor.
Yeah. It's horrible.
You know what? I don't think I needed to know that.
Let's go.
I didn't know about that aspect.
Let's go to Tony in Brooklyn. Hey, Tony.
Hey, boys.
What's up?
Best job I ever had. I worked at a lumber yard with a bunch of derelicts when I was like 18. So these guys would come in all banged up from the night before. One guy, basically, he made a fort out of the plywood shelf where he could sleep all day. And then, like, the boss would go around and find him. He had, like, a suite set up with, like a sleeping bag and a pillow and shit like that.
Oh, yeah. There were definitely sleeping days, man.
The other thing that was funny, too, was the nail gun fights where you just, like, you know, start shooting each other with nail guns.
You'd find your weapon of choice. We'd have these staplers that we'd just have fights with.
You're absolutely right. Duct tape was the magic Band-Aid. Didn't matter what it was.
Yeah, you deal with it when you're done.
Yep. All right, punching out.
All right, thank you, sir. Let's say hi to Wade in Toronto again. Wade.
Morning, boys.
What's up, Wade?
Hey, Wade.
I was just thinking, Opie, you think manual labor is the president of Mexico, eh?
That's a funny joke in Canada.
Oh, that was it? Okay. Let's say hi to Jeff in Mississippi. What up, Jeff?
What's happening, boys?
Hey.
We're just, I'm doing construction down here trying to clean up after Katrina, and one of our favorite things to do to new guys is when they're up on an 8-foot ladder, we run a finish nailer through the sole of their shoes, nail them to the ladder. We did that to a new guy last week, and when he was trying to take off his boots, he lost his balance. He fell ass first into a big mud bucket. And he got stuck there. He's a little Guatemalan guy. He just got his ass stuck in there, and that was it. We watched him roll around like a turtle for about 10 minutes. That's about it, boys. Punch out.
That's a good story.
There was this short little guy on the job, and a couple of the guys that I worked with picked him up. They used to just tease him all the time because he was like almost midget size, but he was just above midget. They lifted him up about 2 feet, put him against a post, and just duct taped his ankles to the post. So he's standing there and like, whoa, trying to keep from just toppling over one way or the other because they duct taped his hands in front of him and his feet 2 feet off the ground, and just left him there, laughed at him, throw like shit at him, and
that's great.
It's like prison. It's like prison. Yeah. There's a hierarchy. There's gags. There's people getting shanked.